Hello and welcome to yet another YouTube video here on this channel. You may have heard of Notion. Notion recently had their first in-person event, and from what I heard, it was really cool. I wasn't able to watch it on YouTube. I was busy, and there are time differences that makes this a little hard, but my Twitter, or now called X, was full of images from this Notion event. So just like every other company in big tech, uh, now Notion also has in-person events, and this was the first one, which where they released a bunch of new updates, and I was hoping to show you some of the updates, like the forms here. But I can't seem to get it to work, neither the forms nor the layout. So we will just go over the blog post and I will show you everything in the blog post here. And give you my thoughts on them. So if you are a personal user like I am, who mainly uses Notion for personal things like keeping track of tasks and maybe having a personal CRM inside of there as well. That's what I mainly used Notion for previously. I am not using Notion anymore now, but I try to keep track of it, and because it is a great application. But if you are like me and you don't or have never ran Notion or ran your business on Notion, none of these updates are like amazing. Some of them are really cool, like Notion email. That is a useful one, but in general, this release here is more towards the business side of things. You can see here that just the first sentence of their blog post, 93, that's the average number of tools that companies uses in 2024, which is a lot of tools. That is a lot of tools. Anyways, back to the point. So more tailored toward businesses, and I will get back to what I think about that later. But we have a preview of Notion Mail, so we are getting email inside of Notion, and the sidebar here. I think this looks a lot better than the calendar does. I've not been the biggest fan of Notion calendar, but again, I'm probably not the target market for something like that. But I do love the views here. Basically, like databases, or you could actually look at these views as like folders inside of any other application. But this feels really familiar if you are a Notion user, and I like the general look and feel of this, similarly to databases. And again, I think this is a little better than the Notion calendar. And you can see the autopilot right here. I think they are doing all of this email stuff. And when they bought Skiff, I talked about that as well. That one of the points of this is to have AI built in to something like this. Like Google has it, Microsoft has it, and with AI, the point becomes to have less scattered information, more information in the same place. That is the point for AI to work properly. You have to have less information scattered across multiple different applications that the AI chatbot you are using. For example, if you're using either Microsoft Copilot or you're using Notion's Autopilot, um, they should be able to access all of the information they need to, for example, draft out an email for you. There are also, they are calling it new ways to build, and this comes back to what Notion wants to become. Notion doesn't just want to be a productivity application, Notion wants to be a no code tool. Think of Lego, but for software. I actually like this a lot because that's what Notion feels like, and that is one of the things that makes Notion so popular because of the IKEA effect. People have to build their own workspaces, so they are more attached towards those workspaces. But as I said, forms are mainly for like RSVPing for a project, or RSVPing for an event inside of a company. I can't seem to find like a use case for this at a personal level, but you have the ability to share these forms either in your either inside of your own like workspace or anyone with the web link. And I am guessing that I should be able to preview this now. And it takes a little time, but it pops up here. So just like any other contact form, and the answers comes out inside of here. But I can't seem to edit this. Again, probably something they will fix. But this is tailored more towards businesses. I can't seem to find the use case for personal use with this, but it is free, it is unlimited, which is really, really cool. That is something I do like. So get started with unlimited forms for free, which is that's really, really cool. So good job there. I haven't seen anyone offering this much functionality for free. Next up is layout. This is actually a cool new thing that I think a lot of people like. Again, someone would say that businesses are more into customizing this, but I like the ability to add more flexibility into anything, especially if you go back up here. They said that they wanted to think of Lego, but for software. In order for that to actually be true, we need more layouts in our database pages. So this is for database pages. They are now even more flexible. You can customize the layout, as you can see right here. Again, I haven't been able to do that inside of my own. If I just jump into one of my many databases here, just open one up, press the three buttons right here. I can't seem to customize everything. I can press customize page, and I can decide hide or show. So always hide, always show. But I can't seem to, either I'm not understanding it perfectly, or I can't seem to be able to customize everything to this extent yet. But I will need to check back on that later. Um, then we have another like business use case. You can now add even more automations, and this has been one of the issues that Notion has had compared to other applications like Coda, like even Taskade. A lot of the other applications have a bunch of automations. I recently tried, or I am currently using Monday CRM at work, and there is just a lot of automations you can add inside of there, which Notion hasn't had. They have gotten a little better, and they are trying to get even more automations in there. You can now add automations with emails. So whenever something is triggered, you can email someone else. So there are a few cool use cases for this. So updates for your team, for example, in Microsoft Loop, whenever someone mentions me, for example, I get an email. You can actually add automations like that inside of here as well, which is great. That is something Notion has been lacking. But again, it is about the businesses, both small, medium, and even bigger sized businesses to have the ability to do this. You can also now add some automations with formulas. Examples of formula automations are triage assignment, assign a task to the right person based on the team tagged in the bug report. So a couple of things there. So you have that in formulas as well. But I really like the ability to now send emails as a part of Notion automations. Notion AI. So there were two companies that Notion acquired. The first one was Skiff, and we have already seen what that is turning out to be, Notion Email. The second one is something called Aquarium Learning, I think. I made a video about that as well, but they have to improve their Notion AI. So Notion AI can now do a bit more. That's the point. It will be able to search Slack, Google Drive, Notion Docs, generate and edit content, analyze PDF and images. This is actually really cool. And chat using real world knowledge. That's the first part of it. The second part of it is that They are now adding Notion AI connectors to make it even easier to sync with the tools you already use, but also Notion AI will be able to search and create within databases. That is really, really important. So let's say you are using Notion. There is one thing that makes people use Notion and makes it better than other tools out there. That one thing is databases. For AI not to work properly in databases means that the AI is basically useless. Um, because from what I've seen from different people's like Notion workspaces, the point is that they create databases. Notion relies heavily on those databases, so this AI needs to get better inside of databases, and it's great to see that they are working on that, as well as the ability to search within your Google Drive and Slack. This makes it a lot easier, as I said, not to have scattered information. We have a couple more things. So we have the new marketplace. This is a really fun thing, but nothing like really, really special. It just gives you the ability, or gives creators the ability to sell their templates within Notion instead of selling it on something like Gumroad, or some people are even selling it on their own website. Now you can sell it within Notion, which makes a lot of sense because this is probably the place I would be looking for templates for Notion, would be on Notion. So it makes it easier for people to sell to a new like user base as well, without having to do as much marketing as they used to do. It is really cool. Not for everyone, but it allows creators to actually have a lot more reasons to sell just within Notion. Notion will take 10%, creators will keep 90%, which is fair. It sounds really fair. You get the ability to do things like refund and see insights and so on. And that covers all of the things we know are coming quite soon. So, Notion Mail is probably coming early 2025, they said, but they are also working on offline mode as well. And offline mode is really important for something like Notion because its competitors are the new competitors are launching with offline mode. So Capacities is turning into offline first. Anytype is offline first, and Notion has gotten a lot of feedback about the fact that it is really slow, and having the ability to download your workspace might make that better. Also, the fact that the point of Notion is that people should be able to run their businesses on Notion with everything from documents to databases and task lists. Let's say that you are traveling or you don't have an internet. For Notion to work in business use cases, I think it is important that it is available offline because it is much harder to download each like Notion docs just because of the way Notion is set up compared to just downloading a whole folder in the Microsoft or Google ecosystem, and you can't have your business stopping just because you don't have internet access for an hour, 2 hours, or even a work day. So there is a point to that as well. But I think the main point is that the trend is offline first. Notion should also be offline first. That actually covers most of the things. And the last thing that I wanted to say is that it looks like, as I've said many times before, that Notion is going more towards the business market, which makes sense. That is where the money is. And um, I think it's a good thing because as long as businesses are paying for Notion, personal users can actually use the application for free. So I think it's a good thing. I'm hoping that Notion can compete against things like Microsoft and Google, and that's where I think it is headed. I think it is battling with especially Microsoft for the whole business suite of applications. Instead of having a business suite of applications, you can just have Notion, and you can combine it with something like Google Workspace. I think that's where Notion is headed, more tailored towards the business market, but there are still a lot of personal users that will continue to use this. Anyways, that was it for today's video. If you have any questions, leave them down below and I will try to get to them as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching.